Hey everybody! Okay, so I wanted to put a video together to show you a solution to a problem I had. When I was a little boy, I loved having the glow-in-the-dark stars across my ceiling in my bedroom. And we have a little boy who just turned 4, and he's really interested in space and stars. In fact, Halloween is in just a few days from now. He's going to be an astronaut this year, which I think is really cool. The more I thought about it, I wanted it to be more than just throwing a bunch of glow-in-the-dark stars across the ceiling. I wanted it to be a little bit more realistic, especially the constellations and the shapes of them and the size. The Big Dipper, for example, is basically just a square with a handle coming off of it, which anybody can kind of throw up there. But I want the angles to be right, the spacing between the stars. So I did some research online. I couldn't really find a solution to the way that I wanted to do it. So I brainstormed for a while and I came up with a way that's a little unorthodox, but it worked for me. So I wanted to share that with you. So the first thing I had to find were the stars I was going to use. And this is what I came up with. These came from Amazon. Packaging looks like this. They were like 14 bucks maybe. 252 stars. I don't know if you can see these. 3 sheets came in this package. 3 of these sheets, and they're round, first of all, which I like. I think that's a little more realistic. And there's like a small, medium, and then some bigger ones. So you can kind of spread them out as you see fit. The next solution I had to find, or to come up with, was to find the actual constellations themselves, which is a little harder than I thought it would be. So eventually I found a website called the Glow Patch, GLOWPATCH, theglowpatch.com. Which simply had just PDF files of the constellations that you could just print out very simply. So exactly what I was looking for. This is essentially just a stencil. One of the problems with this, though, was it was too small for what I wanted. I wanted them to be a little bit bigger across the ceiling so they would, kind of fill out the space a little bit more. So the solution I came up to to solve that was to project light behind these up onto the ceiling, and that way I could make them as big or small as I want. The problem with that was that this paper, this is just printer paper, was too thin. If I punch out these holes and put a flashlight behind it, too much light pollution was coming through the paper itself, and the image would just get lost. So to solve that problem, I went down to Walmart and I picked up. This was really cheap. This is just black construction paper. I got a ream of 30. This was like $1.50, maybe $2. So what I did was, this is the Big Dipper again, I just taped these to the construction paper and then punched out the holes. It was perfect because the construction paper is a little bit bigger than the printer paper, so it was really easy just to tape these together. So yeah, just put them together, punched out the holes. Something to keep in mind about the holes on this is you want to make sure, one, that they're really clean. You don't want a bunch of debris inside there because it'll just kind of distort your projection. I actually found that using a drill and a drill bit at a really high rate of speed, you can kind of go in and out and clean these up. I actually used like a scrap piece of wood in my garage, just laid these down and just kind of drill them all out. It took quite a while to get all the holes, but and something else was the size of the hole made a big difference. Originally I went too big. And when you projected them, the stars just got kind of distorted with each other. Smaller, just like a camera aperture, the smaller the hole, the clearer the picture. So I went with about 1/8 of an inch drill bit, and that seemed to work out pretty well. So now I have my constellations, I have my stars. The next problem was, the biggest problem was how I was going to do this by myself. So obviously I could stand here with my flashlight and project light through this up onto the ceiling, but how am I going to get up there and actually put the stars up? So I'm going to show you how I solved that problem right now. Okay guys, so here we go. So first of all, I apologize, the camera might be a little bit shaky. I was using my tripod earlier and I'm not anymore, and you're going to see why in a second. So here's how I solved the projection issue. So, like I said, it's a little unorthodox, a little MacGyvered maybe, but essentially this is my camera tripod. And all I did was I taped a flashlight. This is obviously one of my son's flashlights, because apparently I don't have any other flashlights in the house. So I taped a flashlight to my tripod, and then this is just a wire coat hanger. And I just used a pair of needle nose pliers, and I extended it up, and I made a little platform out of it on the top. So what you can do, obviously, is just turn this flashlight on, and let me close the blinds here. See if we can get it dark enough. Okay. So if you look up on the ceiling, there's my ring from my coat hanger, and the light is, roughly in the middle. So let's grab our constellation here. This is the Big Dipper again. So if it'll stay on there. Obviously that needs to be pretty flat, otherwise this kind of slides off. But anyway, it works. I don't know if you can quite see it, but you can see these three really clearly. But anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is the dipper, and then 1, 2, 3 gets kind of lost is the handle. So then I could just get up there on my step stool and put up the stars. In fact, I did this like 2 weeks ago, so you can actually see a couple stars from a different constellation there in the middle. But anyway, so that's how I solved it. So let me get the blinds back open, and I'll tell you how I finish this up. All right, be right back. Okay, so that's how I solved the projection issue. The nice thing about using the tripod was the top arm of it, where the camera normally sits, moves up and down. So by adjusting the height of that, I could actually change the size of the constellation on the ceiling, which is really cool. If you don't have a tripod, I think you could probably use a good size like step ladder. Just tape a flashlight to the end of that maybe, or to the side. The coat hanger wasn't great. I'm the first to admit, but it's just what everybody has them laying around. Obviously it's a little bit flimsy. If I kind of bumped it, things got out of whack. I had to kind of start over, but once I got the hang of it, it went pretty quick. So the way that I did this was I printed everything out, got everything on the construction paper, drilled out all the holes, and then I laid everything on the ceiling with tape. I taped everything up. So that way I knew my spacing was right. They were oriented kind of towards his bed. I'm not really into like astrological signs, but I'm a Taurus, Mom's a Pisces, he's a Libra, so those three constellations are kind of right around his bed. So he has like Dad, Mom, and himself right there. And Orion I put directly above his bed. I just think Orion's a pretty cool constellation. So otherwise they're just kind of like random. So it turned out pretty cool. I'm going to try to get the lights down in here and see if I can get it on film. But if you don't see it at the end of this video, then it didn't work. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. So anyway, just a kind of a stupid solution to a problem that doesn't really exist, but something I was trying to do. So hope you find this helpful, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye.